Okay, I'm done procrastinating. Let's make this video. So, a while back now, I woke up around 7 p.m. as one does, and outside it was raining. So, as any reasonable human being, I got inspired, by the rain outside and this particular piece of pixel art to make a game with rain in it. I opened Godot and started conceptualizing and throwing ideas on the board so I can have a concept before actually start working on the game. And after a quick Google search, I found a really nice UV displacement shader that simulated rain. I actually copied it, pasted it into Godot, and it worked fine. So I was ready to start the torture. Due to my schedule and my severe league addiction, I didn't have enough time, so I wanted to make this game fast, as one does. And I decided to give myself 3 hours to make the game. As you might imagine, it didn't took me 3 hours, it actually took me 14 hours over 3 days to finish the game. I struggled a lot with the art and I didn't have a clear concept that I should have developed before starting the timer. So I kept pushing my deadline forward, which is a bad habit that I have. But nevertheless, after those 14 hours, I was actually ready with the game. Let's take a quick look at my mental state throughout the whole development.
I think I got it. I got it working. Why is it fucking me? Why is it drilling my
And after those 3 days, those 3 exhausting, packed with work days, I finally had it finished. And this is when I decided to back up my whole project using Git. I created a new repo and then I moved over my whole project folder into that repo, after which I added all the files so Git can track them. I listed all the tracked files and I noticed that there were some tracked files that weren't necessary. So my initial reaction was to write this command.
Or fuck me in the ass cause I love Jesus. The good Lord would want it that way.
Long story short, I deleted my whole project. After an anger outburst, I slowly came to my senses. I calmed down, and then I decided to torture myself again. So I decided to give up my sleep that night, basically giving myself 3 hours to recreate the game that I have built throughout those 14 hours of work the previous week. So I was much more efficient and focused this time, thanks to my severe hatred towards myself at the time. And I decided to divide my run into 3 parts. The first one being solely working on the assets, which were the player sprite that you're seeing here and the environment textures. I might just upload them to OpenGameArt. I don't know. The second part of the process was actually building this object-oriented structure inside of Godot using nodes. I ended up struggling a bit here because I wanted to stay faithful to my deceased child, but my dumbass couldn't remember a fucking thing. The last part was actually writing the code. Unfortunately, I again aimed a bit too high. I overestimated myself again, and I didn't manage to finish the game in the given time frame. But let's be fair, it's quite apparent that I'm not going to follow any time frame here. Proved again and again, even with this very video, because it's delayed more than a month, because I was stalling this whole time. Nevertheless, after one more work session, I was actually ready. I had the game that I was working towards this whole time. And yeah, Downfall is ready, you can play it, it's on itch.io, but after persevering through this journey full of shit, what did I learn? I cannot trust myself, and neither should you. I recorded a near perfect voiceover for this part, but I don't have any visuals, so I'm just going to do this. If you made it this far, thank you for coming along on this journey with me. If you want to see an uncut version of this whole fiasco, there will be a link in the description. Also, in the description, there will be a link to one of my passion projects that I'm really passionate about. And if you're really into 3D work or 3D design, I promise you will like it. Bye bye.